Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and all of you are co hosts here on the channel. Now, um, we are going to embark on something that maybe I haven't quite thought all my way through, which is kind of a hallmark of the way things are done here on the channel as your benevolent, dictatorial, creative individual in the tabletop RPG community. And thanks there, Z. So, what we are going to do, in short, is create a tabletop role playing game product. You guys can participate in it and are more than welcome to participate in a tabletop role playing product, PDF, all that kind of stuff. And what I decided to take a leap, and I need to give a little bit of context to what we're going to do. We're going to go from inception and outline, and each day I'm going to talk out loud about the creative process, something that I don't normally do to myself. I don't talk out loud when I'm writing or developing, and also by default, using me as the example for other people, maybe either A, this is the absolute worst way of doing a thing. Hey, let's watch this car accident of a of a um uh social experiment, and don't do that, or the opposite way, and that is to give back to you guys who have been very extremely supportive of me, to show you where it is my mind goes, because I talk a lot, but I feel like if I'm going to be a content creator, there should be something to show for it, and also to get to whet the appetite of some of you guys out there who are like, should I, shouldn't I don't know how to get into being a content creator, of creating like RPG products and the whole nine yards. I tend not to think too deeply about things because I don't want to. You guys are so incredibly funny. Uh, I'm just picturing I'm picturing like the helmets inside of the capsules with like the green screen shaking in the background behind you guys. Red leader standing by. Thank you guys so much. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys like the general pitch of what we're going to do. I'm on screen. Uh, um, we're going to show you how the development process is, and I'm going to tell you how I work. Now, if you guys have ever seen any interviews with George R. Martin, he oftentimes talks about are you an architect writer, or are you organic, a living world writer? And George R. Martin is a living world writer, an organic writer. And I am fully in the structural writer. I'm fully in the structural writer portion of it. I like taking small bits and just building on top of them, little tiny, little incremental things. And I like outlines. I love outlines. You guys, when you hear me talk, I bring up lots of examples. I like to. Like the past 2 weeks, it was just, oh, here are 5 things of this thing, or here's 8 things of that. And I like to categorize things in some ways to organize myself. Organic writers will just start writing, and then their brain will go off in different directions. They'll look back at what they've written and then keep going off in different directions organically. I'm not exactly that individual. So, um, that being said, I got to give you guys bad news, and better bad news up front than to punish anyone in the background. So, in creating tabletop RPG products, a lot of us can get scared about sharing that information out there, especially from its inception. Hey, I've got this great idea. If I share that great idea, maybe people will steal. Sorry about moving around so much if you guys are watching. My chair keeps falling down. There we go. Much better. People will be scared that someone will steal the idea. And while that may be true, yeah, Move was like, my outlines are organic. All right, while that may be true, usually what ends up happening is a million people have the exact same idea you did. But if you're first to the market with it, technically you're number one. You're first, right? So that's one thing. The other thing too is when it comes to bad ideas, I mean, to the bad news for this is that I can't promise that either the success of what we're going to do. I can't give you any monetary compensation for what we're going to do, and I can't give you any ownership of what's going to happen here. So, for sake of your own sanity, don't try to share that thing you hold in your heart that's true to you, and like the thing that you've always wanted to produce. Because I'm not going to be able to do that. Um, hey, good to see you there. See, don't know if you're someone who's been here before, but always glad to have you. So let's get this party started. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. And I've got let's see. All right. Couple of clicks. Sorry about the bottom of my idea barrel. All right. There we go. All right. So on screen, I went over to ArtStation this morning and I picked up an image. I'm a very visual individual. So I hope the individual that came up with this over at ArtStation doesn't mind too much. I will not use their product to make any money off of it, but I love visual stimulation. And a lot of times when I make an outline in Google Docs, I'll pick an image and that image will remind me, oh, this is what we're talking about. So what are we going to build? Well, I thought we would build a world in which we're going to build a post-apocalyptic world, and this will be an engine for other people to develop and make their own post-apocalyptic fantasy Dungeons and Dragons world. Okay, and we're going to make bits and pieces. We're going to give people tools to use these. One of the most common, basic, simple tools to give people in tabletop role-playing games are random tables. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to create some random tables. We're not just going to create one random table. And I'll tell you, I'll go into why the random tables are going to be the way they are, and we'll move on even further. But I always like to take an image. This is a placeholder name, Arcana Unleashed. Not exactly what to call it, but I thought we talked on the channel plenty of times where we're like, hey, let's build a world where it's nothing but transmutation or divination magic or rust monsters or Medusa or things like that. I thought we would take some of the core concepts of like post-apocalyptic plus like taking magic and stretching it to the nth degree and really going with it. How many times have we had arguments about like, well, if healing really did exist, the world would be like this? And I said, well, why don't we make a world like that? Hey, M squared's here. Oh man. Yeah, Vince is working my deck building RPG. You guys from around the world. Yeah, across the pond, it's not so bad. Yeah, and Mike says, DBJ, I was fully expecting those conditions, and I'm an organic writer as well. My desk looks like that conspiracy theory meme, but it's post-it notes. Yeah, lots of yarn. You know what? You would think by now with conspiracy theories that all the places that sell all that yarn and thumbtacks, they would go, yeah, he's back in here again. He's probably like hunting down a serial killer or something. You know. Yeah. And Mike Barron's like, post-apocalyptic has literally been the theme of my current campaign. All right, so here's what I'm going to get from you guys. Sometimes when developing things with other people, it's best to, like for me, I like to start out small and expand off of the small idea. Usually finding something. See, don't normally talk out loud about the creative process, so it's a little bit difficult for me as I'm speaking. But I like mnemonics when it comes to writing, and what I mean by that is I like 1 to 3 phrase subjects that we can expand on later. Because if you expand 200 words, 500 words on a one line subject, then we can take that subject and then instead of having to read that 200 words over and over again, once you know it, you can relate back to the single word that reminds you of what it is. An example would be uh, Pathfinder Pathfinder feats, or actually in well, Dungeons and Dragons Fifth Edition feats, right? Um, Once you recognize, or heck, the magic missile spell or something. Once you recognize what it is, now you can relate back to when I say magic missile, when I say fireball, when I say scale mail, when I say these words, we go, oh, and then in our minds we trigger the rules. Oh, I know what that is. Grappling, well, maybe not grappling. Oh, that's but you understand what I'm saying. So, writing for a role playing game is also similar, where maybe we want to find something that is a mnemonic, a simple phrase, and then we can expand on that phrase. Let's go back into the chat a little bit. Yeah, Vince said, mm-mm-mm. Cool, Vince. Vince is working on his own part. Vince is always working that way. Says currently working on working title Spirit Trails. It's about shamans leading a caravan through the lands. The cards of spirits they collect on the way. Cool. Yeah, Vincent's words are weird that way. We constantly define new ones to make communication more effective. We sure do. Like, for example, we've redefined the word source, at least here in the States, uh, to as in healthy foods are sourced locally or something. So we've turned it into like a verb more than a noun. Yeah, Wade's like, yeah, I'm seeing it out there, Wade. The DBJ doesn't write, the cat does. He just takes the credit. Yeah, you may or may not have. Cat's like, you better give me my catnip. Yeah. A theme should be a catchphrase that paints a picture. For instance, Ember is Conan meets dinosaurs. This new world should have a theme just as quick and easy to grasp. I absolutely agree with you there, Mike. I'm going to leave that comment up because it very much is that way. So, what are we going to do? Let's get into the nitty gritty. So, for this outline, what we're going to do is we're just going to make up we're going to fill in the gap of six things. And so what I did is I tried to write down a ton of words that describe to me something post-apocalyptic. So you can see up here, oh, you see I have the word worms and then um, this block text thing but beneath it. And if I scale down just a little bit, you'll see a bunch of other words, starting out with blazing sun and raining darkness and whatnot. I better take a bunch of this. I want to increase the size of these two. I picked 18 just to make it a little bit bigger. All right, so um, there we go. Let me scale this back up. So what I did was I created this. I just picked worms because worms are rather, I don't know, disgusting or something, but it just reminds me of post-apocalypse. And I'm thinking tiny little worms that might like squirrel behind someone's eyes in infestation all the way to like sandworm size, right? But that's the only thing going in my head right now. I haven't defined any of this, and I don't think we need to. And then what I did is I made this big block right here, right? So I can, oh, oops, I didn't write anything. So underneath all this, I have like animals, adversaries, antagonists. I kind of like word alliterations, like J. Jonah Jameson, Lana Lang, Lois Lane, Clark Kent. I there's something rhythmic with that in my brain, and it allows me to remember it as well. So we've got 12 spots here: dangers, deceptions, desires, people, places, possessions, sight, sounds, sensations, and with your help, we're going to fill in some of these. Maybe six. Six is a good number because D6, die six, it's a very good thing to use. And then what we can do, and we can just put in a word underneath each and every one of those, and then we can go back and start filling them in. And so when it comes to like word count and developing things, I like to use very simple 1 to 3 phrases. Boom, list them out, and then go back and fill that in. Like under animals, I'll put I'm gonna type in purple worm. Right. So we got purple worm. What's another worm like thing out there in rot grubs? Rot grubs. Right. So that's an example, and I might even put more and more things. But then if I need to go back and fill this in, I can put purple worm, and that might even be a placeholder, and then I might just put a period or something, and then next to that, or like a dash or whatever, and then next to that, fill it in. There are giant worms circling the world, blah 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 blah. But we're not even at that point yet. So we go back into the chat, and we'll get this started. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Vince says, like the problem is that not everyone defines words the same way. Easy example: try to define OSR. Yeah, it's either old or original, system or what's the S stands for, like system or school, and the R stands for Renaissance or rules, and various iterations thereof. Riding worms. Okay, all right. We're in it. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. So let's. Oops. Oop, ooh, 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 ooh. There we go. You guys are already getting getting it started. Vince is like adversaries, gauds. Maybe. Tesla OSRs, any version of D&D before third edition. Yeah. Hey, soon fifth edition is going to be an OSR rule set too. Gummy worms, desires. All right. You know what? Here we go. All right. Let's see. Worm infested waters. Dangers. Waters. That's a good one. I'm gonna put gummy worms in here. You know what? Why? Because you never know what people might want to eat in a strange thing. Deliciously worm fruit. What do you say? What, like an apple? It's like, hey, let's get an apple with worms inside of it, right? All right. So, what we can do here are why I put this chart of sorts here is that we can go back in and edit it and such. And what I figured is what we can do is start when it comes to, like, okay, start here with worms and a blazing sun and raining darkness, sludge disease, famine. Is we're not going to get super specific, like, oh, the worm has to be the adversary, but everything about it is going to relate back to it. Like, I'm going to go with adversaries. Mind controlled um innocence, because maybe minds are they I'm separating adversaries and antagonists. Adversaries might be against the PCs, but they might not be evil, right? It might just be a problem they have to deal with. I don't know about an antagonist, like what's something worm like. I'm gonna put Naga, slash human headed worms, that kind of thing. Ooh, deceptions goes with adversaries, something like hidden worms in brains slash bodies, something like that. Um, Kind of where my mind is going. Ooh. Vince is on a roll because Vince does things the same, kind of similarly the way I'm thinking of, right? Parasitic worm, tapeworms. Yep. Let's go with tapeworm. Let's go with, should it be? Let's put that under. Let's put that under. Let's see, tapeworms under dangers. Yeah. Let's do that. Oof, I hate the idea of that 2P. Yeah, Plor, bring it up. Tapeworms. Yeah. Ugh. Mike says a symptom of the apocalypse might be the rise of Caius, sons of Caius, and elder god regiments. Yeah, that regions. I'm sorry. That's exactly what I was thinking of, because my brain is going back and forth. Like, ooh, would this be like in an elder gods thing? Is this just something that happens to be around? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Infested world tree. Eating sounds inside of the body. Yeah. Could also be sensations. All right. Sounds are what would be uh munching, munchings and digestion. Sensations are um, worms under the skin. Yeah, 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 yeah. And the reason why red dice is yuan tea. All right, I think uh sounds like it's yuan tea. Could very well be worm like related. They don't have to be. We don't have to specifically specify like specific things because we're literally pulling shit out of our ass and throwing it at the wall. Wriggling and squirming. I was thinking of wiggling and squirming. Yeah, yeah, we need to do that. Um, and squirming is that it? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Wow, I spelled it right. We you want tea or coffee? I could use some coffee right now. All right. Dead man's like, worms under your skin. Are we going into an emo song now? Exactly. Where's my where's my uh black fingernail polish? Got to get my black fingernails polished. All right, Mike. Now Mike mentions reposts. Sorry, I see blazing sun and magic, and all I think of is dark sun. If I may, I would like to propose a world without a sun at all, maybe perpetual twilight from the magical apocalypse. Exact. I put that down for no other reason than to have like something a placeholder in there because I did put down blaze. Let me move this down a little bit. Blazing sun and raining darkness, right? And none of this needs to stay at all. Like let me put a question mark beside it, right? What we who knows what's going to be like. Dark sun is very much um, as was mentioned in a previous episode, I talked about the fact that a lot of post-apocalyptic settings are like deserts. If you think about it, it's been used a lot, and like you mentioned before, there, Mike, like, well, water is life, so the opposite of that is the absence of water is death, and that's probably why my brain just went there. Yep. Worm bait. Oh, worm bait. Like Mufa says, mentions, half worm, half human people. Just use yuan T for stats. Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly where I was going to go. Why wouldn't we just use those stats and you don't have to, we don't need to be beholden to any origins at all for anything. Uh, yuan T don't have to be, worship some devil god or something like that. You're just worm people. Strange, but worm people. Zamar says, well, that would make a good start in media res. Like, how the heck do you spell that? I don't remember. It'll. I don't remember how to play it either. With the players having lost the mission to stop this thing in a fighting retreat to regroup. Okay. All right. So let's see. Where's Z going with that? I'm gonna put that down as I'm gonna put it down under um, dangers, and I'm gonna list it as um, I'm gonna put it as perpetual growing threat? Question mark. I'll do that. I'll do that. Like something like maybe it's something that the PCs can't exactly stop. You guys talk about avians. Okay, all right. Let's see. Another danger would be, or does okay, I'll put this under sites. Avians. Let's see. Hunting worms. Yay! I've got spell check. Thank you, Google Docs. Red Dice says this is making me think of Star Trek earworms that Khan uses on Chekhov. Oh, there's Vincent Media Rest. Yeah, worms being used for tools like as in terms of like possessions would be. Uh, I want to be funny here. Deep fried worms and w- um, in interrogation and um, mind probe tool. There we go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Polaris is graveyards. Yeah, this dead man's like the actual spelling in media race. I'm just I'm butchering it, but we all know it's Latin for like right in the middle. Polaris's places graveyards have worms. All right, graveyard. Yep, graveyards. I'm gonna put end. What would we say battlefields? But we places where a lot of people have died. I'm gonna put that down in there as a as places where they've died. Hidden worms, bodies. I'm going to add something to deceptions. Might be worms underground or underfoot. Underfoot. There we go. Because maybe people are traveling in a place where lots of people have died. Mass graves. Thank you, thank you, Mufa. I was just like I'm like sweeping around the words like yes, mass graves. Same thing, but yeah. Mass graves. I'll still list it under there. So you guys see where I'm heading at, right? Now, the reason why again people love. I'm also thinking of sales. Okay, I'm letting you behind the curtain a little bit. I'm also thinking of how do you sell something like this. So random tables are a very easy thing. We could very easily get rid of the numbers and just put bullet points because I know there's some people who just they see a random table and their eyes roll. Yet if they were bullet points, maybe they don't mentally they don't have the same reaction. But I think more or less random tables are a very easy thing to describe. And the reason why I was thinking of random tables as well is because we don't need whoever is going to use this doesn't need to use every single one of these things. The idea is that we're going to get people to use a few of them to describe in their world. For example, maybe there are no purple worms and giant worms in their world. Maybe there are only these small rot grub infestation type things that will be in their world, or they may not use this table at all. Right. So what we're doing is we're just making building pieces, building blocks. Whereas in another setting, we are not creating a world for someone. We're creating a building blocks that someone else can say, my world's a little bit different than your world. Wormomancer. Uh, Carrion crawlers. Let's see. Let's put them down under. Sorry if you guys can hear a lot of my clicking and ball whirling. So I apologize for that. I'm gonna put down carrion crawlers as adversaries because uh, crawlers, and I'm putting them down as adversaries because it might be possible that the people adventuring might come across them like a wild animal eating. If PCs just avoid them, the carrion crawlers might not even bother with the PCs. But it also gives information because if there's a carrion crawler, there must be they're crawling near carrion, if that makes sense. So there's dead bodies and things like that. Yep, and because they digest dead animals as well, and that can also give a clue as to well what happened, what died, et cetera, et cetera. Corpse worms. That could also fit with corpse worms. They could Wayne. That is making my mind go to other things. Could worms be creating like animating undead? Are there uh, are there like bodies with worm, like humanoid shaped worm shaped bodies, like small worms, but they're covering like the skeletal structure of a being or something. Like that's where my mind is going when I hear something like that, and I like all of that. I want to write it down. Let's put that under. So again, as we're being descriptive here, I'm going to go to. I think I wrote down undead somewhere down in here. There it is. So I hit undead. Am I going too far? Yes, probably. I slap this down at the bottom of my chart so I can just copy it. I'm gonna copy my 12 point thing here. I'm gonna go here to undead. I'm gonna paste it down. Bam, and I'm gonna go with antagonist. Worm corpses. Is that a word? There we go. Yeah, worm corpses. There we are. So this is an example. I showing you behind the scenes. Sometimes if I need to copy something over and over again, I'll drop it at the end of my Google Doc. So this is going to always be empty, right here. Why are there numbers in there, like twos and fives? And that's weird. Two. That is really weird. I didn't. Okay, all right. I didn't realize 2, 5, 6, 5, 4. That is really weird. All right, I don't know what Google Doc is doing with me doing that for, but whatever. But anyway, all I usually put anything I need to copy over and over again at the bottom of my doc because this is the last page, and then I use that and I'll just copy paste it and use it. So eventually, all of these will be picked up. If you take a look at some of these words, like we've seen what we can imagine what a necropolis is. And in my mind, I'm like, why aren't there other opolises? Like a chronopolis about time, or like an evocationopolis, evocanopolis. I don't know what a city of evocation magic would be like, but I was like, why doesn't it exist? And why can't we make it exist ourselves? So that's where I was going with it, you know. Let's go back into what the co-hosts are talking about because you guys are going on. It's the missing a lot of the chat here. Let's. I apologize. I apologize. I'm with you there, Z. Too much Call of Cthulhu right now. Yeah, I'm hearing that. Red Dice Diaries mentions the worm that walks, the mythos idea where an evil sorcerer dies, but their essence animates the worms that feed on them to form a vaguely humanoid mass of worms. That's exactly where my mind went when I saw the word corpse worms. That's exactly where my mind went. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Z mentioned. I missed a comment from Zamora. Might Vince says the underground of this world might literally be called the crawl, and Z responds with desires to feed a god to hold off doom. Worms, maybe. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Um, yeah, Dead Man went exactly to what I was imagining. A worm that walks, a skeleton animated by a horde of worms. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the worms have to feed or. That's pretty nasty. Massive worms acting as a being. Okay, let's okay, so I guess we've moved on a little bit and going into let's go with because we put this under undead, but doesn't matter. We're going to go with let's see, humanoid mass of worms. All right, I'm trying to make it as short and sweet as possible so we can always go back. Okay, yeah, Wormop, a Wormopolis. Yeah. Ooh, plural. Okay. All right. Let's see. Mike says the worms are literally a projection of the black hole sun. Okay. Earworm musically. Yeah. Black hole sun. Yeah. That feed the black hole sun. That which the worms consume feeds the sun. Ow. Yeah, well, you're going really big with that one. Is it? Yeah, I was thinking of Rat King or Worm King would be interesting. Ooh, I'm liking that. Yeah, perpetuating the conditions. Oops, perpetuating the conditions of the worms. Yeah, feeding the source. Mike continues to says DBJ. Yeah, worms feed the source of the apocalypse. Cyberworm hive mind. Ooh, we are. Yeah, cyberworm hive mind. We are the worm. We are the worm. Okay, okay. So let's go with this. Vince says you could also make worm spells that instead of doing fire damage, they munch on your flesh. Okay, there's a lot. There's a lot to absorb in that one. All right, so let's go with um, desires uh, consume to feed the the let's eternal capitalize that the eternal hunger. All right, and then there we go. And then you guys were mentioning a bunch of things. Let's go with all right. Let's go with people. We're going to go with people. Hive. Oops, got my caps lock. A hive. Hive mind. Let's put a little dash here. Hive mind. Um. I'm going to put down clans. Hive minded clans where they all maybe they have like worms inside of them. I'm both picturing worms like literally inside people's brains and or like the idea of like a giant leech lamprey like worm that's like attached to like the left or right side of someone's bald head and it kind of wraps around their neck or something like a slug or something like that. I'm picturing both of those as well. Oh man. Mm-mm-mm. Dangerous plague of worms, silkworms eating corpses. Oh, ooh, ooh, okay. Plague of dangers. Let's go back up here. Um, let's see. Plague of worms. I'm going to separate the two worms, and then I'm going to do silkworms. Worms. Webs? Question mark. Webs. Webs and threads. So maybe there's like we understand silkworms will spin them around themselves, but maybe like there's maybe some the side effect of the worms are like this like the silky threads are something as a danger as well as the silkworms. Oops, I separated the word there. Oh yeah. I'm liking this. Possessions. Oh, possessions could be under silkworms too. Ooh, so I'm gonna put bolts of silk and then parentheses silkworm farming, silkworm farming. So maybe people that's a way. I don't know if it's possible, but it doesn't mean it's not possible. Maybe there are caravans that carry around living silkworms that maybe they have to feed, and then the worms themselves create the silk that is taken from the silkworms. Um, I know silkworms don't spew out silk like spiders do, but they very well could. So okay, so not to, I don't want to stop you guys from Oh shit! Sorry, Mufa. You guys are sparking my brain here. Mufa says we all know what happens to worms on the sidewalk during summer after a rain. Ooh. Okay. Let's fill up a spot that's not here. Let's fill up. Okay, so I'll put this under sites. Um, worm. Oh. Uh. Um. What's a good word? Worm No, 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 no. Let's get rid of that. Let's see. Okay, worm infestation after rainfall. That's the best I can think of it. Where the worms come out of the ground because they don't want to drown because the water gets set the ground gets saturated, which that is a great kind of danger. So let's add this together. Torrential rain creates worm, um, not mob. What's a good creates plague of worms. There we go. Like a worm sign. Safest place for humans is on the salt flats of a dried up sea. Places. Yep. Salt flats. Salt. I'll spell it right. Safe place. Uh, safe place to find refuge. All right, and yes, salt. I know salt. There we go. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, another place. If worms dig under the ground, let's see. Worm tunnels and holes. No, we're not going to go in that hole. There we go. You go, yeah, you all go on about worms. I'm going to eat. I'll sit back and eat my apple. Um, better than eating dates in the dark. Possession's anti-worm salt. Ah, there's another one. Yeah, anti-worm salt. Yeah, I could see maybe spreading something like that around an encampment that is necessary. Like, oh, why are you guys all carrying around these pouches of salt? Or that maybe there might not even pouches; they could be barrels or something. And everyone's panicked as it's setting up camp and they're sprinkling the salt around the encampment. Or um, it is a let's see adversaries animals. Uh, Desire sight sounds. Okay, here's a site. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna use this site as a behavior. So a pinch of salt underfoot, semicolon, a sign of of like safety. So player characters may not know this is a danger, but when they meet people and they stop for a moment, maybe at a camp or there's a caravan or something, and they see, say, individuals pull out like a little pinch of salt and they just sprinkle it under their feet and stand on top of it. And the player characters may not know why they're doing such a thing, but you see how one is leading to the next, leading to the next. There we go. Yeah, Red Dice says, you know what they say: a sprinkle a day keeps the wrigglers away. Like, is there a way for me? See, I was wondering if there's a way for me to cut and paste. I'm gonna take away the comment. Oh, I can't. Uh, I can't cut and paste. Damn it. A sprinkle a day keeps the wrigglers away. Yeah, 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 yeah. I love it. I love it. All right, I'll expand this one out. Let's see. Sprinkle a day keeps the. Sorry about the clicking. Wrigglers away. Yeah, I'm loving it. Oh man, yeah, yeah, at McDonald's, I'm loving it. Eating, hunting giant slugs the size of whales could be a thing. Yeah, yeah, I'm digging that a lot. Ooh, okay, here we go. I'm gonna put that under people. Giant slug hunting parties. Nest. Oh, okay. Sorry, but who would eat anything like that? Oh my god. Oh, or hell. All right, Mufa. Since you made me think of it, let's see. Um, we're going to put this under. We got a ton under dangers. I'm going to put this under deceptions. I'm going to go um, tiny slugs become massive kaiju. So, I put that under deceptions. This might be something that the player characters don't know. Um, Maybe the population has been consuming, killing these things and has just been doing it as on a regular. But the tiny little worms that they're using to like put inside of people's ears and infesting the skin over time, they never stop growing. As long as there's something to consume, they just get bigger and bigger. And then that massive size is feeding this eternal hunger of an external thing. Yeah, Slugzilla. Yeah. Whale slug slime, oil of this world. Oops. Ooh, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Whale. So it could be used. Maybe it's not used to like light lamps, but it's something else. Like, let's put this under. I'm going to put slug oil um, consumption, and then we'll have to fill in whale oil. I spelled it wrong. I know. Whale oil economy? Question mark? It's not a question mark. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a whale oil economy. So much like how people hunted whales, they're hunting that nasty oil that's left over from their bodies. Maybe the slug oil is needed to build machines or create magic. Yeah. What if survivors? All right, because someone it's a salt mine. So let's go back up. Sorry. Think flail snail, but purple worms sized. Oh hell yeah! Ooh, ooh. If we work from silkworm angle, areas filled with webbing makes for a good warning and red herring. I love that. I love that Z because let's go with. Do we have some places? Do we put some place things here? So I'll put down. I will put down evidence of air quotes webs. And I'll put here red herring herrings, um, red herring spiders, because that's usually what people think. You see silky threads, people think spiders, and then they don't see any spiders around, or they don't encounter them, or they're expecting to see spiders, and that's not it. I'm putting red herring spiders and oops and um, oh well, I'll put evidence there, so that counts. There we go. All right. Flail snails. Oh shit, flail snails. Jesus, why did I put that in there? I'm gonna put that down as animals. And no. I'm gonna put that over here as adversaries because the flail snails. Now I don't know flail. Let's flail snails is a real word. Wow, Google Doc. Wow, that's different. What if what if survivors built giant piloted golems to battle the slug kaiju? Okay. All right. Okay. Think of communities built on giant slugs. Living on the shell saves you from being attacked from below. I'm not thinking of slugs being in a shell, but okay. I don't know why my mind didn't go there. I know flail snails have a shell. Oh shit. Tea with a nice foam of slug slime on top. Better drink it or you'll offend your host. Oh, oh, we have to have that. Yes. And I'm specifically putting here tea. Pull her across the pond. Tea with slug foam on top. Yes. Drink drink it or offend drink it or offend your neighbor. Neighbor. Yes. Ow, nasty. Nasty. I love it. Or it heals, or maybe something in the middle. Um let's okay, we're gonna go with sensations and say unnatural. I'll call it, I'm gonna put it under mutation. Mutation Mutations from ingestion and contact with slime from slugs. Slugs. So it, there might not be something that actually happens, but the sensation is something will happen, which might make, players player characters are extremely suspicious of things coming in contact with their bodies. So something may not actually really happen, but it could be a precursor to something happening. Red Dice is saying, yeah, I can imagine an industry springing up around the kaiju slugs like in Pacific Rim. I could see, yeah, yeah. Remember the organ legger that was selling kaiju organs? People were much like people buying ivory today, and other bodily organs from wild animals. I could see that. Ooh, all healing potions need slug slime, and the bigger the slug is, the more potent it is. And it might be need to be harvested from at a certain time. And then Red Dice says, flail snails also produce glass in their trail in some editions that could be a valuable commodity. All right, so let's place this under. Do we just place this under? I'm going to put this under desires that maybe the public is slugs, and wow, fat fingers, slugs and worms produce valuable uh, commodities such as healing. I'll put um, healing potions and protective protective what do you call it? Protective salves. How about that? And that's just an example of what maybe they might produce. Even other things like the glass. Oh no, no, no! I'm not going to miss that one. Don't miss Vince healing potion from worm oil comment. It's grossly beautiful. Ooh. So harvest. All right, people, hunting parties, and then I'll put this under people as well. Harvest. Harvest. Wranglers Wranglers collect uh, slimy oils from slugs. I'm going to put something else down here. Uh, Druidic pe- Druidic peoples uh, protect slugs and worms from the rest of us. Worms and let's say heal snail shells in case they get broken or something like that. They might even live inside of them. Who knows? Maybe. All right, let's go. Let's get back into chat. I don't want to miss miss too much of this. All right, the giant snail from Naruto is called Katsuyo, and it is pretty weird or cool. It can heal, spit acid, and even split into hundreds of dog-sized snails that can heal. I have not. That is a huge gap in my anime. Naruto. I don't know why it is. It just I don't know. It geeky void, but yeah, but I like it. I kind of like the feel of I kind of like I kind of feel like tunnels leading to the elemental plane of ooze could be a thing. Places. Let's do that. Let's throw that into. We got sight, sound, sensations, places. Got a lot of places. All right, I'm gonna put this into places, and I'll say I'll put down tunnels can lead to elemental planes, and I'm gonna put behind it like ooze, earth. I'll put water down in there because blending the two, etc. So I would guesstimate that probably the bigger ones are the ones that do that. Pelora sounds. Oh God, squishing sound. Maybe worms falling from a ceiling onto the floor. Yeah, yeah, we have to do that. So I hear two sounds. So I'm going to put down. Um, okay, wet footsteps across wet footsteps across um, moist floors and dripping dripping viscous fluids. I love spell check. Oh shit. Oh, nasty. Nasty. Yeah. Zamora is already there. Person, wandering merchants of worms, slime filled potions, and teas. All right. Okay. Where are we at? People. We got them of people. Uh, I'm going to put those down as adversaries. Why? Because the very things that the players may or may not possess might go to some of their enemies. So, like, okay, so here, worm, slug, slug, snail, oil, merchants, selling potions and salves, slaves, salve, shit. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the PCs could pass those individuals on the road, be weirded out by it, and those same merchants could sell it to their enemies. You know, our classic goblinoid hordes might be extremely might benefit it the benefit from it extremely. You see what I'm saying? Uh, Fishermen on the search for bait. Oh, so you're saying like like people using the worms to hunt for other things. All right, I'm hearing that. I'm gonna let it gestate for a slight amount. So Morris is actually splitting worm enemies would be yes, worms that split into smaller worms on slashing damage. Ooh. All right. Where can we put this to where because we're filling up some of these areas, but let's go to some of the ones that we haven't. All right. Antagonists. Splitting worm. Jeez. Worms into smaller enemies. And I'll put in parentheses slashing dam- damage only creates um smaller slash tiny tiny opponents. There is an ooze that does that. That when you slash it, each of the oozes is has their own thing. Like brown mold expands from fire because most people are like, oh, I'm going to use fire on a gray ooze, and they see a brown mold and they're like, fire works on that. There's an ooze that does that. Ochre jelly or something. I don't remember which one, but there's one like if you hit it with slashing damage, you don't kill it, you just make smaller versions of itself, and I'm liking that a lot. I like that. That's a really cool puzzle monster thing that I really like. Vince is like, "What did you do today?" Oh, the usual building a world based on worms. Yeah. Well, Vince, you listen. You are far further ahead of world building with worms than I am. But you get red dice sound squelch. Yeah. Well, we do have to have under sounds. We do have to have the sounds of on stepping on worms, slugs, and geez, and snails. The sounds of the squishing sound of stepping on worm. Really, Jackson? Yeah, there we go. All right. Mm-mm-mm. Salvery. Yeah, is that a thing? Salvery? The act of forcing people to rub slug oil all over your body. You will. Red dice brings up. Oh, Mike says black. Here it is. Black puddings separate. Yeah, there was. I knew there was an ooze. Puddings, jellies, gelatins. You guys know what I'm talking about. Molds. Yeah, there's one that separates. It's the black pudding that does that. Obi Verm Kenobi. Okay, well, let me. I'm reading a bunch of stuff from you guys. If the worm parasites, if the worms are parasites, what about worm chest bursters? Yeah, aren't chest bursters basically worms? The answer is yes. They are. So okay. Mm, mm. Sites. Here we go. Dead. I'll just put corpses. Corpses. Corpses with chest bursting wounds. And I'm just going to put that, yeah, with chest bursting wounds. So that's going to be like the players could come across that, and that might be under. We've got a lot of things under like dangers and whatnot. Mm, tapeworms. we've got. I'm going to get rid of this perpetual growing threat. We got 6 things in here. Instead, I'm going to get rid of that and put in infestation leads to chest bursting horror. There we go. Ooh, yeah. All right, guys, we're coming to the end here. Um, and this PC snail race is immune to being eaten by worms. In fact, they eat the worms. Are you talking about like the people who are gurgitators that eat lots and lots of that eat the Nathan's hot dogs? Mm-mm-mm. Salvary is the culture of areas in ancient. It's the culture of his ancient times. Yeah. Hold on. It runs the oils on the skin, or else it gets the worms again. It puts the worms in the basket. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. All right. Here we go. We've got a ton of possessions, but I'm gonna put this on here. Worms. Oops. Worms, slugs, and snails. Capital as oceans, salves, salves, and elixirs. Right? So you don't make them out of something, you actually use them for the thing that you need them for. Oh, I've got a cut on my arm. Place the slug like leech thing on top of it. Let's see. Trying to catch up on the chat here. Worminator wrestling in a pit of worms. I'm still going to use that comment there. I said, okay. What happened? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Sorry, guys, because the chat has moved so much. I actually had to play. I can't even expand the chat. It would be better if I could like pop it out a little bit and spread it out so the words are wider, but they're actually longer. The way I'm looking at it is longer. Red Dice saw how it worked before, and yeah, I actually had a player character. Vince says, I actually had a player character once that rolled random mutations in Numenera and did become a giant snail. He had natural armor, snail eyes, need for moisture, etc. He really liked it. Ooh, yeah. Mike says, repost, if you like, reskinning a turtle might make for a snail PC race. I need your boots, your clothes, and your mucus. Give them to me. That's pretty nasty. All right, so we're going to come to the end here. I've got to put in. Uh, I've got to put in Palora's comment about the wrestling in the wrestling in a pit of worms. So that is going to be something that we're going to include in here. We'll put this into sites, as in these are things someone might come upon. Wrestling pits, um, wrestling pits, filled with worms, slick with oil, and mucus, and what's the um, um, giant mouth at bottom bottom of pit. I'll do that as well. Star Wars, classic Star Wars, the big giant monster at the bottom, which I for some reason my brain cannot remember the name of it. Um, All right, we're coming to the end here. Well, it's early and I must prep for work. Good morning. And remember, if you want to grow, be big and healthy, drink your milk and worm froth. All right, all right. We got to cut this at some point and end it off here. The Sarlacc pit. Sarlacc. Yes, yes, yes. Jeez, my brain just yes. Uh Sarlacc. Sarlacc star that'll be a mnemonic. All right, guys. Okay. Everybody have a great one. I now cannot see the chat. So yeah, I mean you guys can pop in some comment or I can't highlight. Guys, thank you so much for just being. This is how I. This is an example of how I come up with ideas. Look at. Let me scroll back up to here for what we created. We just. This is just worms, and this is just like if we want to. The idea is we're just going to do. We're going to fireball this. This is where the idea came from. What if you had a bunch of D6s? People always have tons of dice, D6s, and on the fly or for game prep or something like that, we can just fireball the hell out of this world. Roll the dice, roll, just take a bunch of them. Here's what you see. What's a number one on this? What's something on this one? What's something on that one? And a person on the fly, either at the table, players make a left turn instead of a right, they're world creating, whatever the case might be. This is what you see. This is what you come across. Here are the dangers. Here are some adversaries. What do they want? What do they need? And we've created a whole economy. The sight, sounds, sensation. I already see how easy it will be to fill in the other things. And when it comes to the creative process, one thing leading to another becomes easier if we're driving the car. In other words, a parked car can't be steered. We have to get moving. And if one thing will click to something else and something else go, oh wait a minute, how about this? Like for example, under deceptions, what kinds of things will people be doing or hidden in the world? We already know about this. Desires. There's so many out of all the other things we created. There's so many other desires that the people in this world that are consumed by these things will be doing. And guess what we did? This is just one aspect. And I wrote down a bunch of keywords that we could blaze this build off of. Raining, darkness, sludge and water, disease, famine, mutations, rust and constructs. And a lot of these will relate back to what we already did. Again, if we talk about like constructs, we already know, the idea of like using giant constructs to fight those worms. Of course, with like famine, are the worms eating all the food? And this doesn't have to be a world built on worms. That's not what we're doing. My reasoning is we started with one thing and now we can build on so many other things. For example, if we go left field outside of worms, which we already have in the back burner, we can go with maybe something aerial or avian is involved in this world. I put down gases and smoke. Maybe there are things in the air that's dangerous or whatnot, or maybe there's insects and fungus and insanity in this world. Very, very Lovecraftian. I get it. But you see where we're going with this. And we can even develop from these keywords even more. I just top of the head, type. We can erase this. Anti-worm salt. Okay, we can erase that and give it a name or just what it is. Maybe the color and texture of the salt and whatnot. And so that will, and what we can do is, or what I plan on doing is using description that leads questions for more description. If you understand what I'm saying. You'll get to the point. You'll get it. Yeah. Yeah, wriggle eternal, slimy and chrome. So guys, everybody have a great one. Thank you so much for just being part of it. We're going to continue the doc. It's a Google Doc. It's already saved. We're going to build off of it and yeah. Oh, hey Wayne. Yeah, Wayne's like, yeah, I gotta go. 5 a.m. Oof, gotta go 5 minutes later. We're done here. I gotta go to work. 10 minutes later, yakety yakety yak. Yeah, I do that all the time. I do that all the time. And that's because I love the creative process. It's like my cup of coffee. So Guys, yes, stay slimy and chrome. Have a great one. We'll talk about this tomorrow, and I will also start having the conversation move more towards the production of something like this. Like, what about artwork? What about layout, marketing? Um, Talking about those things we in the community kind of don't like to talk about. I'm going to remove this Google Doc from the stream, and we're going to talk about those things from my point of view and my experiences, which might not be universal for everyone. But yeah, and just talk. We're going to talk about social media and everything, and see where this goes. And of course, I'll be working on this project when we're offline. So you'll see gaps filled in there just to give us a place to start out with. And thank you guys for just being so creative, like right off the bat. It didn't take anything, and to get you to spark your creativity. I figured that it would be that way, but I wasn't sure. Like I said, I diving board, closed eyes, just jumped into the air to see how this would work. So, guys, everybody have a great one. I will see thee later, and be creative tomorrow. Come on, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great one. See ya.